So they're already gathering because they can feel you're all around. They can feel the vibrations. And they're like, right, hey, it's almost time. So they come on out. As soon as we start feeding them, there'll be more.
Oh, okay.
So they come and go. There's always some hanging out, but yeah, we get quite a lot sent up to the feed. So welcome to our tuna, our longfin eel talk. So tuna is the Maori word for our longfin eels. So these tuna, they're endemic to New Zealand. They are only found in New Zealand, and they are the largest freshwater eel in the world.
So why are they
So
here?
they can grow up to 2 metres long and have been known to weigh up to 30-40 kilos. So some of these are big, they can be bigger. And they can live to over 100 years of age. The only way you can actually tell how old a tuna is they've got a little bone in their ear that's kind of like the rings of a tree. So once they're dead, you can then find out how old they are, but that's the only way. Apart from that, we'd just be guesstimating. So they grow between 1 and 2 centimetres a year. So in New Zealand we can get 3 types of eels. So we've got the long fin, there's the short fin, occasionally visiting from Australia, but mainly up north where it's warmer is the spotted eel. So they're called long fin for a reason. Their dorsal fin is further forward than their bottom anal fin. The short fin, basically they're in line with each other, the fins. So that's one way to tell them apart, whether they're long or short fin. Another way, if they're over a metre, long fin. And in fact, if they're over a metre, all females. So the males only grow to about 80 centimetres. So the biggies are the females. And one last way to tell, you can see, which I can't very well, you guys might be able to see, it's a bit blurry from here. When the long fin, when they bend, they get quite distinct wrinkles down their sides. So the short fin don't get these wrinkles. So these guys are mainly nocturnal. So they come out at night to feed. But these ones, no, they get a treat during the day as well. So out they come. But they'll go back to their little hidey holes and under the river bank and under boulders. There's one that lives under the step. Some are in that deep pool there. And they'll come out at night to find their own food. And they're not really that fussy about what they eat. Pretty much anything goes. It could be insects or little fish or even smaller eel, a little kora, our little freshwater crayfish. It could be the odd rat or mouse or duckling or egg or dead sheep or whatever. So yeah. Oh, I know. Yum.
A full dead sheep?
So yeah, meat is good. So we're going to feed them a leftover mix from that our kiwi didn't eat last night, and also our shore plover. And so it's very much a meat-based diet. So shore plover is one of New Zealand's very most rarest birds, and we have a bunch here at Pūkaha. You can't see them; I hardly see them. They're a really nervous bird, and they're in the aviaries out of public view. But yeah, really important work that we're doing here. So with all you guys coming, it's contributing to the work that we do. So not just what you can see, but what you don't see as well. So these guys, their teeth. So their teeth face backwards in, all these little teeth. And on the roof of their mouth, they have teeth in the shape of an arrow. All these little teeth, and they make a shape of an arrow. One of them a while back grabbed one of our fish. You can see there's fish down there, some trout. Grabbed it, boom, you could actually see the arrow shape down the side of the trout. The trout got away, it was all good.
No wonder the trout survived.
Oh, I know.
No,
they was Leah. They obviously had a little bit of a tussle. But they say if you get your finger caught, you're meant to push it in before you pull it out. I forgot my own advice, and one of them, we very carefully got long spoons, but one of them got my finger one time, they had it poking out, I caught it, and out it came. So yeah, no, don't do that. But they don't have very good eyesight at all. It's their sense of smell that helps them find their food. Really bad eyesight, nocturnal, so yeah, not big. But it's their sense of smell just above their mouth. They've got the tiny little tough things, they're their nostrils. So that's how they find their food. And when I feed them, you'll see, absolutely hopeless. Their heads are going everywhere, and they knock the spoon, and yeah. So these guys are amazing. So as I said, they can live to 100 years of age. But from any time from when the male was about 20 or the female was around 30, any time from there they can go off to breed. So quite exceptional. Where they go to breed is thousands of kilometres away in the warmer waters in the Pacific, so towards the Tongan Trench. to get to sea just from here, they actually end up going complete other coast. If anyone's from, I think we've had a few from the Manawatu through today, they end up in the Manawatu River and go out to sea over by Foxton.
Incredible, eh?
And before they head on out, they change shape. Their head gets more narrow, their eyes get bigger. They wait in the river mouth to adapt to the sea water and then head on out. And so swim these thousands of kilometres, takes several months to get there. They're not eating for this time, but when they get there, this is where they breed. So if she's 1 metre long, she can lay up to around 5 million eggs. If she's 1.5 metres long, up to around 20 million. These might be fertilised by the male, but then they die, they pass away. So it is once in a lifetime trip to the warmer waters. So they're little babies. So they, to start with, super tiny, they're flat and transparent. So see-through, they're floating on the currents back to New Zealand. That's what brings them back here. Remembering that these tuna, these longfinny, are only found in New Zealand. So it's the currents that are bringing them back here. Obviously they don't all make it. A lot of them are probably eaten on the way or float on past. As they probably take over a year until they reach New Zealand, they're coming into our river mouths. They're looking more like an eel, but still transparent, still see-through. And then they start moving up the rivers, and they change to the grey shape. We then call them alvers, and until they're about 15 centimetres long, they can climb waterfalls and things. But as many of you may know, or some of you may not, they can go over land. So they cover themselves with a mucus that allows them to absorb oxygen into their skin, and they can go over land for up to 2 days at a time. So they are literally found in every stream, creek, river, pond, lake, dam, whatever, right throughout New Zealand. So they're amazing, so cool. They are endemic to New Zealand, but unfortunately they are actually not protected, which is crazy because these trout that are hanging around in here are more protected than our beautiful tuna. So the trout, you need a license to fish them. But the tuna, no. So it's crazy in their life cycle. Amazing creatures. So yeah, we'll give them a bit of a feed, and we've got quite a bit of food there. And if anyone's got any questions, yell out. I'll try not. I have been pulled in once before. I was out just as quick as I was in because the spoon fits in some of their mouths. I was just kind of crouching. I will sit down today. They gave it an almighty tug, and then I flew in front of a whole school group. So yeah, some of them are big. Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
What do they typically weigh, like the big ones, like 20
well,
kilos?
yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to guess, really. I'd say there'd be some of the big ones will be, yeah, up around that 15, 20. But yeah, they can grow 30, 40, and like it's been known. Yeah, no, especially when I was unbalanced.
Yeah.
I've got shoes on today, but yeah, when you've got sandals, I'm a little bit more careful as well.
You're allowed to catch them.
So there are little ones, just so you know, we do have lots of little tuna, little eel in here as well, but they don't come and tend to mix it with the big guys because they might end up being eaten. When we occasionally feed them mice and rats that we might get in our traps, they think that's the bee's knees. Whoever gets the mouse just it goes slurp down in one shot. The rat, whoever gets the rat thinks that's great and takes off because it doesn't want to share.
Yeah.
Because I can't give them bit.
They're not even eating pellets. They're eating meat.
She's tasting them. Now that would be easy.
Look how big she is. She is massive.
That's so exciting.
So many mouths. I'm trying to feed them above the water. Once it But honestly, it's hard. They keep knocking it off.
They can set the whole thing That's a fetish.
So there's a one disappearing under the step there. Oh, he's come out from under the step.
Why do they live under the step, some of them?
When I can't hear you. What's that?
Why do some of them live under the step?
Because it's just a little hidey hole from hiding from the big ones, I think. A nice little hidey hole. The big ones can't fit under. Oh no, not fast enough. The big ones can't fit under here.
They're right
Oh, nice. We're in that one.
You can see.
Oh, now the. Yeah.
Give them the bucket.
Stop it! Oh,
That's easy.
honestly. Yeah, quick! Oh.
One had it on his head and the other one on
No,
his back.
just wait. Here we go.
Bigger trunk. They shouldn't find that.
No. Oh, here, quick, little one. Little one. Yeah. No, stop. No. Ha ha ha. Oh my gosh.
They're so stupid.
Yeah. They can't see very well at all. They're not quite as crazy. They have calmed down a little bit, which is good.
No, because they can't see the food. It goes in the water, the fish just end up with it, not the eel.
It's a bit of a tough job getting out from
So
it,
they're trying to get it in their mouth, but they can only smell it, they can't see it.
yeah.
I know they can see it. I know they can only
That's why she's trying to feed them to get it out of the water, so they don't. Otherwise, the trout are the only ones
This
can see.
trout is trying to get through.
That'll be eating all of that, all
We'll
of
save
it.
a little bit for afternoon cover.
Probably
But yeah, they're quite nutty. They have come down, thank goodness. Good. So they'll all go back to their little hidey holes. They'll come out tonight. They'll just chill for the rest of the day.
Do you always feed them? Do you always feed them?
We always at Pūkaha, we feed them every day.
Yeah.
They're pretty spoiled, hey? That's why there's so many. So yeah. So if you're around at 3 o'clock, we've got our kaka feed and talk where our wild kaka can come in for a feed. If you're around then, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
If you're not, you'll probably hear and see them around anyway, and they're in Avery's 3 and 4 as well. So
Yeah.
And I feed them. I read with the carcass.
what's that, Heidi?
I feed the planted before?
Oh, you have, haven't you? Because you've been lots of times.
We've been lots of times. Yeah.
Are you been a good guide? Showing them round?
We've been everywhere.
Good job.